Stop! Did you just turn off that air vent above your seat? You might have just turned your personal space into a bacterial petri dish. Airlines are banking on your ignorance right now. They are hiding $1,550 in cold, hard cash that they are legally required to give you during overbooking situations. The system is rigged. A single extra inch on your suitcase can cost you $125 at the gate, and a tiny typo on your ID can ruin a $5,000 vacation. You are walking through a terminal minefield. Here are 16 rules to navigate the chaos and keep your money where it belongs. Here is Rule 1 of 16. One digital click could kill your entire vacation before it even starts. Liam, a 28-year-old marketing specialist, discovered this at Nashville, BNA. He decided to renew his passport online 3 weeks before his flight to London, thinking it was a smart time saver. It was a disaster. The system is often unforgiving. The moment you submit that digital application, your current physical passport is frequently flagged as invalid in the global security database. Liam stood at the check-in counter, clutching a blue book that was now nothing more than a useless stack of paper. The agent looked at the screen and shook her head. Denied. The airline doesn't warn you about this because a forfeited seat is pure profit for them. Reality check. Stay far away from online portals if you are flying within 8 weeks. Liam watched his plane taxi away while he sat in the terminal. Digital speed led to a total travel disaster. But even a valid book won't save you if you don't know the secrets of the security gauntlet. Rule 2 of 16. Check your passport expiration date this second. Olivia, a 41-year-old pediatrician, stood at Los Angeles, LAX, clutching her dream ticket to Paris. The gate agent took one look at her ID and stopped her. Sorry, you cannot board. Olivia's passport didn't expire for another 4 months, but France, like much of the European Union, requires at least 6 months of validity. The system is rigged to catch you off guard. Most airlines won't mention this specific rule until you are already at the gate and it is too late to pivot. They profit from your mistake, and you lose your vacation. Stop waiting for a miracle at the counter. Entry requirements are getting stricter every year. Always verify the specific rules for your destination at least 2 months before you head to the airport. A valid passport is not enough if it is considered too old by foreign customs. Olivia's trip ended at a terminal bench. A cheap seat became an expensive mistake. But being denied at the gate is nothing compared to the confusion of the real ID deadline. Rule 3 of 16. Noah, a 52-year-old accountant, stood at the security entrance in Charlotte, CLT, fumbling with his wallet while the line grew behind him. He handed over his standard driver's license, the same one he had used for a decade. The TSA agent didn't even look up before sliding it back across the table. This won't work. It was May 7, 2026. Noah froze. He had heard the rumors about Real ID, but assumed there would be a grace period for loyal travelers. There isn't. Without a Real ID compliant license or a valid passport, you are grounded for domestic flights. The system is designed to catch the unprepared. They are banking on your ignorance of federal deadlines. Noah had to scramble to find his passport at the bottom of his carry-on. Many people aren't so lucky and get sent home immediately. Check for that gold star on your ID today. However, Even the right ID won't help you if your name doesn't match your ticket perfectly. Rule 4 of 16. Does a tiny typo on your boarding pass keep you up at night? It should. For Emma, a 33-year-old graphic designer at Cleveland, CLE, it turned into a security nightmare. She looked at her ticket, then at her passport. Her middle name was missing entirely from the airline's record. The agent's face turned cold. "Ma'am, this does not match our secure flight data." Panic hit her hard. She was heading to a major presentation in London, but the system saw her as a potential security threat. The airline won't tell you this, but even a missing suffix or a transposed letter can trigger an intensive secondary screening that takes hours. They are counting on you to rush through the booking process. The fix is simple but critical. Book using your full legal name, exactly as it appears on your government ID. If you catch a mistake early, call the airline immediately. At Cleveland, Emma had to be extremely polite and ask for a manual secure flight note. Most agents will eventually let it slide, but you cannot count on luck. That stress is nothing compared to the 3D scanner chaos. Rule 5 of 16. Wait times at some security checkpoints have actually increased by nearly 30% after the introduction of high-tech 3D scanners. Lucas, a 47-year-old chef, learned this the hard way at Denver, DEN. He expected to breeze through the new CT scanner lanes, but the machine flagged a dense object in his bag. He had placed his tablet directly on top of a portable power bank. The bin got stuck in a manual inspection loop for 25 minutes while the line backed up behind him. The system is rigged to prioritize machine sensitivity over your personal schedule. Here is the secret. Place your larger electronics flat and solo in the bin. Do not stack them. This simple strategy saved Lucas on his return trip, even though agents always have the final word. Efficiency in the modern airport is not always about speed. It is about knowing how the machines think. But even a fast security line won't help if the airline owes you a massive refund. Rule 6 of 16. Check your liquids before you even leave your house. Charlotte, a 24-year-old librarian from Las Vegas, LAS, thought the era of tiny bottles was finally over. She had read headlines about new scanners allowing full-sized bottles in Europe. She was wrong. Rules change fast, and different airports have different tech. Charlotte stood at the security belt, watching her expensive 8-ounce organic skincare cream get tossed into a trash bin. The airline won't tell you this, but scanner rollouts are lagging behind policy updates. Do not let this happen to you. Stick to the 3.4-ounce limit every single time to be safe. Pack your essentials in a clear, quart-sized bag and keep it accessible. If you have larger items you cannot live without, ship them to your hotel ahead of time. Charlotte lost $50 worth of product in 10 seconds. Security tech evolves, but the rules usually stay rigid. Toiletries are cheap, however, compared to the fees you will face for a slightly oversized suitcase. Rule 7 of 16. James, a 55-year-old real estate agent, stood at the boarding gate in Miami, MIA, gripping his leather suitcase as the line moved forward. He had used this bag for 5 years without a single issue. But today, the airline was on a mission. The gate agent pointed toward the metal sizer. It was a trap. James slid the bag in, but it snagged on the left wheel. It was barely half an inch too tall because of the new casters he had installed. The agent didn't blink. They hope you don't know this rule. If it doesn't fit the metal box perfectly, it is a mandatory gate check fee. In his case, it was $125. James had to fumble for his credit card while people stared. Stop letting a single wheel cost you a fortune. Most airlines are now using these strict sizers as a primary way to boost ancillary revenue.
Measure your bag from the floor to the top of the handle, including the wheels. James paid the fee, but you can avoid it with a tape measure. You just saved $100, but that is peanuts compared to what you lose in unused travel vouchers. Rule 8 of 16. Is that $189 Clear Plus membership actually buying you speed, or just a fancy sticker for your bag? Amelia, a 31-year-old journalist, found out the hard way at Austin, AUS. She stood in the dedicated clear lane while the regular TSA pre-check line zipped right past her. The system is rigged. At many major hubs, Clear has become so popular that it is now just as crowded as the standard lanes. They are banking on your desire for status. Stop and check your credit card benefits first. Many premium travel cards cover the full $189 annual fee. If yours doesn't, and you aren't flying through massive hubs every single week, you are likely throwing your cash away. It can still help during the absolute peak of the holiday season, but the era of the instant pass is fading. Amelia learned her lesson and canceled her auto-renewal. She saved her money, but that won't help if your flight gets canceled and the airline tries to trick you. Rule 9 of 16. Over $600 million in airline vouchers expire unused every single year. William, a 63-year-old retired architect, was stranded at Seattle-Tacoma, SEA, for 8 hours after his flight to Boston stalled out. An agent offered him a $200 travel voucher as an apology. He almost took it. Stop. As of late 2024, the Department of Transportation requires airlines to give you a full cash refund automatically if your flight is significantly delayed or canceled. The airline won't tell you this voluntarily. They hope you will accept a voucher that expires in 12 months. You do not have to beg for your own money back. William stood his ground, cited the new rules, and got a full refund to his original form of payment. Reality check. This only applies if you choose not to take the alternative flight they offer. William booked a different carrier and made it home. You saved your cash, but that won't help your stress levels when your luggage vanishes into thin air. Rule 10 of 16. Check that baggage carousel one last time, but do not panic just yet. Sophia, a 39-year-old lawyer, stood at the claim area in Salt Lake City, SLC, as the belt finally stopped moving. Her suitcase, which held her professional wardrobe for a high-stakes trial, was nowhere to be found. The airline won't tell you this, but you have incredible leverage in this situation. Head to the baggage office immediately. Do not leave the airport without a physical copy of a property irregularity report. For domestic flights within the U.S., the airline's liability for lost or damaged bags is capped at a substantial $3,800. Ask the agent for incidental expense coverage. They are often required to reimburse you for essentials like toiletries and basic clothing while your bag is missing. Sophia stayed firm and received $250 for an emergency suit.
They profit when you stay silent. Don't be a victim of the system. Luggage is just the start of your journey, though. Your physical comfort in the sky is the next battle. Rule 11 of 16. Benjamin, a 44-year-old pharmacist, paced the gate area at Baltimore, BWI, eyes glued to his phone. His 7-year-old daughter was assigned to seat 34B, while he was stuck way up in 12F. The airline's website wanted an extra $150 just to move them together. He felt a surge of anxiety. They are banking on your fear of being separated from your children. Stop. In 2025, these junk fees are finally being dismantled. Most major U.S. carriers have now committed to seating families with children under the age of 13 together for no additional charge. If you are in Benjamin's shoes, do not pay that fee online. Go to the gate and politely ask for the family seating guarantee. The internal systems are now designed to fix these seating clusters automatically before boarding. Benjamin did exactly this, and the agent issued new passes in seconds. It might be harder on a completely full, last-minute flight, but the policy is on your side. Family is not a luxury upgrade. You save the cash, but a fat wallet won't help if you get kicked off the plane entirely. Rule 12 of 16. Have you ever arrived at the gate only to find out your seat doesn't exist anymore? Isabella, a 36-year-old physical therapist, stood in the terminal at Newark, EWR, feeling her chest tighten as the screen flashed her name in red. Her flight was overbooked. The staff looked right through her while she tried to explain she had a wedding to attend. They wanted her to just walk away and wait for the next flight. They are banking on your ignorance of federal law. Stop. If you are involuntarily bumped from a flight, they owe you cold, hard cash, not just a flimsy voucher for future travel. If the delay to your destination exceeds 2 hours, the airline often owes you 400% of your one-way fare, capped at $1,550. Ask specifically for involuntary denied boarding compensation. It is not a guaranteed payday every time, but Isabella stayed calm, stood her ground, and walked away with a check. She won. But a big check won't save your back when you are jammed into the smallest seat on the plane. Rule 13 of 16. The average airline seat pitch has plummeted from 35 inches in the 1970s to a cramped 30 inches today. That is a massive 5-inch loss of your personal space. Henry, a 50-year-old data scientist, felt the physical crunch at Boston, BOS, while boarding a long-haul flight. His knees were already jammed into the seat back in front of him before the engines even started. They are banking on you just accepting the discomfort. Here is the fix. Open the airline's mobile app exactly 15 minutes before the boarding process begins. Scan the seat map for dead zones. These are often middle seats in the back, or rows that remained unassigned due to last-minute cancellations. Henry spotted an entirely empty row and moved the moment the cabin doors were closed. Reality check. This is not a guaranteed right. If the flight crew tells you to stay put for weight and balance, do not argue. Extra legroom is a game of strategy, not a legal requirement. But legroom is nothing compared to the invisible threats floating in the cabin air. Rule 14 of 16. Whatever you do, do not touch that air vent above your seat. Most people twist it shut because the cabin feels like a walk-in freezer at 35,000 feet. That is the single biggest health mistake you can make on a plane. Ava, a 27-year-old social worker at Chicago ORD, made this exact choice. She hates the cold draft on her neck, so she shut the nozzle the moment she sat down. Big mistake.
Now the stagnant air around her became a pool for every germ in her immediate vicinity. The airline won't tell you this, but that tiny plastic vent is your personal air shield. It creates a high-pressure air curtain that literally pushes germs and particulates down toward the floor and away from your face. Most modern planes refresh the entire cabin air every 2 minutes using medical-grade HEPA filters. By turning it off, Ava was inviting every cough from 3 rows back into her personal space. Keep it on at least a low setting. Being a little chilly is much better than being sick for a week. But air isn't the only thing you should be monitoring. Rule 15 of 16. Alexander, a 58-year-old financial advisor, stood at gate B12 in Phoenix, PHX, staring at the massive crowd. He was facing a 5-hour flight in a cramped middle seat between 2 strangers. A total nightmare for a long trip. The airline wanted him to pay $50 to upgrade to a window seat. They profit while you lose your comfort. Alexander didn't budge. Instead, he opened the airline app exactly 24 hours before takeoff, the very second check-in opened. Many travelers forget to recheck the map after the initial booking. He saw that several preferred seats had opened up because elite flyers were upgraded to first class. He snagged a much better seat for $0. It is the poor man's first class hack. It isn't a 100% guarantee, but it works more often than you think. Alexander saved his money and his sanity. But even the best seat in the world is useless if your technology dies mid-flight. Rule 16 of 16. Have you ever seen your phone hit 10% just as the boarding doors close for a 6-hour flight? Mia, a 22-year-old student, felt that cold surge of panic at Dallas, DFW. She was flying across the country with no backup and a dead laptop. She frantically plugged her cable into the worn USB port on the seatback in front of her. Nothing happened. Airlines often limit these built-in USB ports to a measly 0.5 amps. They are banking on your ignorance of electronics. That is barely enough power to trickle charge a phone that is turned off. If you are actually using your phone to watch a movie or browse, your battery percentage will likely continue to drop even while charging. Always carry a high-quality 20,000 milliamp hour power bank in your personal item. If you forgot one, look under your seat for a standard AC outlet. Those provide much more reliable power than the flimsy USB ports on the screen. Power is a privilege in the sky, not a right. If you don't know these rules, the airport will take your money and your comfort every single time. The airlines hate that you know these secrets, but you are now in control. Hit subscribe to keep winning against the system.